Hi everyone. Today I want to share a fun little card that's perfect for a kid in your life, and it uses Dino Days Stamp Set. Now the Dino Days Stamp Set has matching designer series paper and it has a matching die collection. So it's a really super fun set. I want to show you a few things about the dies. You notice that some of the dinosaurs have spikes, and those are separate little dies that cut out those spikes, and that way you can do, your dinosaur in one color, and then you can do the spikes in a separate color. And so that's really fun, and it's just a really fun little stamp set. So the stamps are separate like that. And another thing I want to point out is the designer series paper. Super cute, and it's meant to go with the dies as well as the stamps. So it's really fun paper, and some of them have a really cute little bunch of dinosaurs on them. And there's two different size dinosaur papers. This one, the dinosaurs are a little smaller, and then there's this one where the dinosaurs are larger. And these larger dinosaurs actually cut out with the dies. So you can cut out all these little pterodactyls. I might get my dinosaur names wrong. Help me if I don't. Maybe this is a T-Rex. I don't know. So you can cut them out with the dies like I did here. Do I have any brachiosaurs? Somewhere. Here we go. And then you can even, so they left a space. See how there's a space here? That is for those, like I was talking about, those spikes. So you can cut out the spikes too. They don't look bad. Like if you were using this paper as it is, you wouldn't notice this big separation so much that I'm pointing out to you. But now that you see me point it out, you're noticing it. So you can add those spikes behind this guy, for example, and now he is spiky, like a Stegosaurus. I might be getting these wrong. Anyway, so you can cut out all these little dinosaurs, and I cut out an entire sheet of dinosaurs, and it was really fun. And then I have them because I had to cut out a couple, and then I thought, well, while I'm doing it, I might as well just cut out a bunch. So I just kind of, cut myself some strips. So, and I thought that would be easy, and then that way I can fit it on my die cutting machine. And I cut every dinosaur so far. I have a few more to go. And some of them are missing a wing, like this little guy here. And I thought he might still be fun because you can use him, if you're making a scene of dinosaurs. Maybe he's off the edge. Maybe he's coming over here off the edge. No, on my particular card today, I don't need him. But I cut these little half ones anyway. And then even some of them have just their little head sticking out. Like, look at this. I think this is a brachiosaurus, maybe. See how it's just his head? That could be fun. That little head could stick up, behind a tree or something. So, or, in your little card out of a pocket. So it's really cute. I just cut up the whole page. Now, I didn't necessarily cut up one wing or a tail, but it's cute. And the die set comes with this egg, which I think is funny because, dinosaurs did hatch out of eggs. And there's this cute little one. Look who hatched. So you can even have one of those little heads, your brachiosaur, sticking out of this dinosaur egg. It's a really fun little collection, and there's some nice little texture dies. Really fun dies, really fun little stamp set. Really cute, and with that paper, it's just darling. So anyway, take a look at that. Here, look at all these pterodactyls I cut out. Okay, so this is this card here that I want to do. And it's called a magnet slider card, and I saw one like maybe a year ago at Halloween where someone made a witch on a broom, and then when you pulled the tag, the witch moved because there's a magnet. And I stored that in my head thinking I was going to make that someday. There's just so many cards out there. You see them and you put them in your head, or you make a little note for yourself, or you save it and you bookmark it or something, but then you don't get around to it and you forget all about it. I forgot all about it. And then just recently, another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Dawn Griffith, she has a huge following, so probably you've seen her cards that I'm talking about. She did this with a ladybug, and I thought, oh yeah, the magnet card. And so anyway, I wanted to make it, and I needed a little boy birthday, so I made it with the pterodactyl. Now, the dinosaurs are good for boys or girls. I remember my daughter loved dinosaurs, and actually there's a little girl in my church class that likes dinosaurs. And this stamp set is good for both, and the papers are good for both because you've got lots of colors here, very colorful. And take a look at those papers online because they're just full of colors. And I chose colors straight from the paper. So on some of these dinosaurs, you've got this mango color, Mango Melody, and it's kind of a newer color. So I used that as my base. And then I chose Old Olive because that's kind of an accent color running through here. And so that's what I'm doing here. And then on my tag, now look what happens. When I pull up the tag, that little pterodactyl comes with, because he's a magnet. He sticks to this tag. So on here I've got Pretty Peacock and Pool Party. So that is what this is. Oh, and it's sticking from the back. So here is the card. Let's do that again. Look how fun that is. That little pterodactyl comes up, and then you can use this as a bookmark. You can write, you know, happy birthday. Is what I'm going to do is write happy birthday right there. And it's a cute little pocket card. Not a lot of space to write on this one, but it's super cute. And if you're giving this to a kid, they don't want to read what you wrote anyway. They like the you're raw-some, and they like to see who it's from, but that's about it. Anyway, let's make this card. It's really simple. The base is just a piece of cardstock that's cut at 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then I've cut designer series paper just a 1/4 inch smaller. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. Go ahead and stick that together. Okay, and then I've got the pocket. Now this pocket is 4 by 2 3/4, and then I've got this piece of Whisper White that is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. So it's just a 1/4 inch smaller. I'm going to stamp on it first. I always like to stamp on the white before I attach it because in case you make a mistake, you can flip it over. So I'm going to stamp this tree. Off to the side, and I'm using soft suede. Now there is a die for the tree, but I just wanted to stamp it straight down since it's nothing funny happening with the tree here. But I did use die cuts for the branches. Now you could stamp them straight down, but I thought this was kind of cute. And I stamped Old Olive with Old Olive ink on Old Olive cardstock. And I already made a whole bunch of these. So rather than have you watch me stamp, I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. Now for the palm tree, I wanted the palm branches to be hanging down. You could make them spike up, but in reality palm branches don't really go straight up anyway, and you want the space up here for your pterodactyl. So mine are all kind of hanging down. And it's perfectly okay if they go off the side. It's kind of fun that way. And then you're going to grab one of your brachiosaurs. Here's one. And I'm going to glue him down right here. And once I've got that how I want it, I can go ahead and attach it to my Mango Melody here. Couldn't be easier. Now we're going to grab another fun thing, foam adhesive strips. This was a great addition a few years ago to our lineup, wasn't it? So you're going to go ahead, it takes one strip. You're going to make sure to leave the top open for your pocket and just go down the side. And the other side. And across the bottom. And that just gets centered. Kind of a bummer to cover up some of these cute little dinosaurs, but it's still really fun. I love the little volcanoes in the distance here. Really fun paper. Okay, so that is your card base. Now for the flying pterodactyl, I cut out, like I said, with the designer series paper, I cut out a whole bunch of pterodactyls, And they come in a bunch of colors. So for this one, where the Brachiosaurus is green, I will not use a green. It's a little too much green, so let me grab another color. Let me go with, I'm not even sure what color that is. A lot of times they'll say the color is, like this one is Lovely Lipstick, but it's actually like a toned down Lovely Lipstick. I don't think they said it was a separate color. So let me check. The colors are always listed on the back here, and they list Flirty Flamingo, so maybe that's what that is. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give my pterodactyl the Flirty Flamingo. Now, there's all kinds of magnets out there on the market, and let me just tell you, it's very frustrating because when you buy them, sometimes they're just not strong enough to do what you want to do. This one needs to go through, as you can see, 2 layers of cardstock here, and then you're going to put it on your tag, and you don't want it to necessarily show because, you know, how that wouldn't be very attractive. So it's going to go through yet a 3rd layer of cardstock. Now, I had some of this. I'll show you what I had so you cannot make the mistake. I had some of this roll of magnetic strip that I found in a bin. I don't remember what I bought this for, but I had it laying around, so I thought, oh, that looks good. Maybe I'll try that. And I cut it. Here's my pterodactyl that I cut that one with. And you can do that, and it works great, but it's not strong enough to go through that many layers of cardstock. It's just not. So if you wanted to adapt this, maybe only use 1 layer of cardstock, do something different. Maybe don't care if your magnet shows because the pterodactyl is going to cover most of it anyway. You can play around with that. But another choice I had was, let me find it. I had these sheets of magnets, and my original intent for this, we used to sell a Build-A-Bear magnet. If you remember that's how long I've been a demonstrator. We had a Build-A-Bear die set where you can put a bear and then you could put clothes for the bear. So that's what this is for. This was a big roll of magnet sheet for way back then. And back then that was just going through a thin layer of DSP. And so that was okay for the Build-A-Bear, but not okay for these layers. And you want it to be strong. You don't want the card to fall apart and it's going to have that effect, that cute pulling effect, if you can barely even get it in the envelope. You want it to really attach. You want it to be able to turn upside down, flop. It's not falling off. And even through the cardstock layers, you don't want it to fall off. So take the time to get a good magnet. You know, flop it around. It's not going to go. Staying put. So you want to have a strong magnet, and it was really frustrating because I really wanted to use the magnet stuff that I already had laying around. And then I remembered I made this purses once where I used these little button magnets, and these are super strong, and there's 3 of them here. See, you can't even get them apart. Those are amazingly strong, but they're big. Now they do sell them small. Whoa, see, smaller, and you can get them smaller. And you can put one on each side maybe of the wing. You can do different things. Just kind of look for a magnet. This is 10 millimeter. You can find them at 8. Actually, this one might be, I think it is 10. Anyway, by 1. And so the thickness too, you don't want something really thick and then it doesn't go in the mail. You really have to shop for your magnets. But this really, really strong magnet is so great, but it's more expensive. So then if you're making a bunch of these cards, it starts to add up. And it starts to add thickness and weight to your card, where the post office is going to charge you more. So I didn't want to use necessarily this button because you could see it, although barely. I could have probably squeezed in back there and you'd barely see the magnet from behind the pterodactyl, but I didn't have a lot of these. I only had a few. So they work good together. This one is strong enough. So 2 layers of this, those 2 together are not strong enough. One of these and one of these are strong enough. So there's one of those inside of here and it works. And so if I had put some of this inside of here, it's just, see, it barely, I mean, this stuff is not super strong magnets. I was really disappointed in them. So you have to, you can't even pick up its own magnet. But this, it goes right on there. So this in conjunction is what I'm doing. You're going to have to look to see what magnets you can find. It's hard to find things right now because we're not going out shopping right now. We're social distancing, or at least we are here in Illinois, and so I can't go to the craft store. And I don't want to put the craft store people at risk, so I am shopping through places like Amazon, and things are in back order. It's just the way it is right now. But I had these little button, I had like a couple, maybe 10 of these little button guys. So I'm saving them by using one of these with my cheaper magnet. So together, strong enough. All right, that was enough magnet babbling. It was my magnet saga, so I thought I would share that with you. I just don't want you to have magnet saga, is what it is. So anyway, I've got one of these little button guys, and then I'm going to cut out my magnet sheet with this pterodactyl. And you want to make sure you're going the correct way. I wanted that this has adhesive on it. I wanted to make sure the sticker side, you know, is at the back of this so that I can put them together. So I had to put the magnet through, and I'm able to run, this is a thin die and this is a pretty thin magnet, so I'm able to cut this die, this magnet out with this die, and so that works really nicely, and it covers the whole pterodactyl nice and flat, and so I went right on there. All right, here's my pterodactyl, and like I said, it was a peel and stick, so I'm going to peel this. And grab my Flirty Flamingo. Oh, he's already got magnet on him. Flirty Flamingo pterodactyl. Now how I made the tag is you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, and I'm using the tag topper punch. I like this because it's got this little bump and a little hole, and people know instinctively to pull up on that tag topper. So this is, this opening here is 2 inches, but I found that when I cut cardstock at exactly 2 inches, it's very snug. So I've just cut it just a hair under 2 inches, and then this is 4 1/4 long, and you can actually punch 2 at the same time. There. And then on the one that's going to be on top, we're going to add some fun detail. We're going to add the little footprints across the bottom. And this is Pool Party. And then I'm going to add the Your Rarsome in the peacock, and I just took those colors straight out of the Designer Series paper. I'm going to stamp it kind of low because I want my pterodactyl to have room to land up there, but I want a little bit of space so I can write my name when I send that off, so they know who sent it to them. And I'm going to use some ribbon, and I'm just choosing Old Olive. This is a new ribbon. It is from the Ornate Garden Suite. It's a nice tying ribbon, and it's not real bulky, and it's just really nice and flat, but still pretty, you know. And it's Old Olive. It comes in a 2-pack with Calypso Coral. Okay, here's my little button. All right, now this I want to put behind, and I don't want to add a lot of bulk. I don't want to put glue in between because I don't want to add to the bulk of my card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this one with a glue dot. I don't mean the bulk of the card, I mean what's blocking the magnet from the other magnet, the 2 magnets together. I'm going to use tear tape, it's a little stronger. And then I'm going to attach this one right on top of that and line them up. All right. Okay, I put a lot of adhesive up here because I wanted it really stuck down nice and flat, and so I added a little bulk there. with the adhesive by putting it on my silicone mat so then it didn't stick to my paper and get goo everywhere. So that's what that was. And now you're going to cut yourself a length of ribbon. All right, tuck that inside. Stick your pterodactyl on there. And you're good to go. There he goes. You're awesome. So he's a fun little card. And I think a kid would like that. I'm trying to think what other stamp sets we have that would work good for this, and I was thinking maybe the pedal to the metal, where you could do a scene and then when you pull it the motorcycle moves. That would be fun. So think of what kind of stamp sets you have that would work nicely with this magnet slider technique. Maybe a butterfly on a flowery card. Lots of kind of cute things you can do with this magnet slider. So I hope that you give it a try. I hope that you don't have magnet problems like I did. And let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.